Thank you.
AC Conti, can you hear me? I can see you in my screen. Just want to make sure everyone can hear me. If you could just put your thumb up or something. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone to the reopening meeting for William Street Elementary School. To date, we have done 6 parent meetings, and so this is the 7th. And we're happy to share what we know as of now with you about our reopening. If you could click to the next slide, please. Here are the administrative team that will be presenting, and I'm confident that this will be informative and provide quite a bit of information to you. Some of it's similar to previous presentations with an William Street Elementary twist by Mrs. Bull, Stacy Conti, and Greg Hare. But please understand, we will never be able to answer all your questions with one presentation. There are literally millions of questions, and it seems like in this pandemic environment, everything changes on a dime. And we get different guidance weekly and sometimes daily from the governor's office, the Department of Health, and the state education department, and the like. This is less criticism than it is just the nature of the times. It's just the way things are right now because we're in a very difficult and unprecedented time. In fact, just literally half an hour ago, the Erie County Executive made a financial press conference giving money to school districts. So it's changing literally by half an hour increments. Our plan, which can be found on our website, is over 60 pages long now. We've been updating that and will again very shortly. And it addresses a myriad of topics in great detail. So please take some time to read it. And it was written so that many of your questions would be answered. I've stated we are in the middle of a worldwide pandemic and our family lives and our work lives have been turned upside down. I've joked that I said I don't know more in the last 6 months than I have in my entire life. If you know me at all, I don't like saying I don't know. But my kids and other people ask, when will there be a vaccine? I don't know. Will we have sports in the fall? I don't know. Will school last the year, or at some point will we be back on remote totally? I don't know. But what I do know is that we've been working here in Lancaster schools 24/7 during these difficult months. And while it's impossible to answer every question, there are many that we can answer, and we'll do our best right now. From our parent questions that we've received thus far, these 9 themes continue to pop up. So we'll go through each of these, and at the end of each, we'll answer our parents' frequently asked questions on that theme. Ultimately, we will answer every question that's been sent to us, and we will post an updated FAQ document on our website. Finally, as many of you know, I'm not only superintendent of schools, but I'm a father of 4 children who have gone from kindergarten at John A. Scholey to William Street, to the middle school and the high school. My one daughter, Casey, just graduated a month and a half ago from the high school. I have a senior this year, Eden, and my son, Mac, is a sophomore. So from this perspective too, I can tell you that I feel your pain. I'm not gonna lie to you, this is gonna be a difficult year, but I can tell you with 100% certainty that, and also with great pride, that the good people of the school district are doing everything they can and will continue to do so to bring your children back to school or provide opportunities remotely, and to do both of those in the safest way possible for everyone. We are confident that we can do this, so let's get to it. Let's begin with some safety aspects from Jamie Phillips.
Hello. We are going to talk to you a little bit today about the safety procedures that we'll have in place. These are the procedures that will be going above and beyond the basic regulations, which is masks, social distancing, and hand hygiene. These are the protocols we're going to be putting in place that go above and beyond what the regulations and guidance are requiring us to do. There is a mandate for daily health screenings for before getting on the bus or arriving to school. Those mandates are for students, but also all of our faculty and staff alike. Everyone should complete a screening, parents for younger students, older students, and staff and faculty prior to arriving. We have purchased an app, it's called Ruvna, that will help us with this. It will send daily texts and emails to all parents, faculty, and staff to complete their screenings. The app will ask the 4 basic questions. Do you have any of the symptoms? And it will list the symptoms. Have you traveled to an area outside of the state or the country? Have you tested positive for COVID, or have you been in contact with someone who has tested positive? If your answer is yes to any of those questions, the app will give you further instructions as to what to do. We have also purchased many thermal temperature checkpoints, which will be positioned at various entrances in each of our school building locations. As students leave the bus, they'll be greeted and monitored by faculty and staff, and both faculty and students will be randomly selected as they enter the building to use the temperature checkpoint. It takes about 1 to 2 seconds to get a very accurate reading. The unit is programmed to tell the student to pass or to signal to them to proceed to the nurse's office. Our school personnel will be there to help students learn how to use the equipment and provide support before and after the reading each day. We also have purchased and implemented 2 different training modules for our students and 1 for our staff. Students will be asked to complete trainings through a Safe Schools online portal. Those directions will be sent out before school starts. And those trainings will be on hand hygiene, respiratory hygiene, social distancing, signs and symptoms of COVID, and a proper use of PPE. Faculty and staff have already begun to complete those trainings in the system we have in place already for the district, the Global Compliance Network. Once the trainings are complete, through the online portal, we're able to track who has completed them. We're also able to go back to those videos and training modules to reinforce training throughout the year as needed, and teachers will also reinforce some of that training in the classrooms throughout the year. With respect to cleaning and disinfecting, I think it's very important for us to say that there is nothing we can't disinfect during the day or after the students have left for the day during the night shift that would result in us needing to have a midweek break and forego instruction. We do not need to lose a day of instruction to clean. Every night, once students leave, we will be able to accomplish all disinfection throughout all of the buildings, and we will be ready for students to return the next day. We will have additional staff assigned to the day shift that they will be working throughout the whole school continuously, disinfecting high-touch surfaces and high-touch areas. They will be visible and constantly on the move. Each classroom will also have access to hydroponic sprayers with EPA registered disinfectant to use throughout the day. Hand sanitizer dispensers will be in each room, in each classroom, and also in high volume areas such as the cafeteria entrances and the main entrances. Our custodial department will be following all of the CDC and Department of Health procedures using approved disinfectants and also industry best practices each day throughout the day and at nighttime. The district has purchased hydrostatic sprayers that will be used in each building each evening. Ventilation is a topic that's come up several times across the district. Due to the generosity and support of our community over the past 8 years with our capital project propositions, we have replaced or improved many of our HVAC systems throughout the buildings, from our basement systems and our rooftop systems to our classroom univentilators. Our Buildings and Grounds Department is ensuring that our ventilation systems operate properly and are being controlled as designed. We have implemented an additional module to our building automation system that will allow us to electronically maintain the system to increase fresh outdoor air amounts in the rooms, maintain indoor humidity and temperature for optimal safety, automate equipment schedules, and that will improve air circulation and air flushing. We have also upgraded all of our filters and throughout the, between the rooftop units and the classroom units to the filter level that the system is able to allow. There is one thing that in accordance with our the CDC school guidance, we are not able to permit fans in the classrooms.
A week ago, the governor created a stir in a press conference insinuating that schools were to test all students and adults. The next morning, he walked back those statements as parents across the state said, no, 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 you're not touching my child. The same thing happened here in Lancaster as well. People were alarmed by that. So let me be clear, unless the law changes or regulations change, which I doubt they will, Lancaster schools do not and will not test students and teachers for COVID-19. That's not our role. I've been meeting regularly with Gail Burstein, the Erie County Commissioner of Health, since February. Multiple times regularly. Our role as a school district is to refer those students and employees who have symptoms to the Department of Health and their personal physician. So the district must notify the state and local department, the health department, immediately upon being informed of any positive COVID-19 diagnostic test result by any individual in school facilities or on school grounds, including students, faculty, staff, and visitors. So the district is responsible for referring, and they've even gone to the extent of they have a digital map that for where testing sites are in Erie County, which can be accessed by the district in order to refer students and staff to that testing site. Then, once we've done our part, the Department of Health does their job, which is testing, notifying the district of a positive case if there is one, contact tracing, etc. This flow chart is just one example of the flow charts in our plan. Please refer to our plan. There's many flow charts and explanations of contact tracing and the like. So please read that section if you have more questions about the district's role as well as the Department of Health.
Good afternoon, William Street families. My name is Andy Kreisman. I'm the district's director of secondary education, and I'm also a proud parent of a William Street student. And what I would like to do at this point in the presentation is to go over with you specifically some of the frequently asked questions that have come in to the district from parent surveys, emails, and the like. So the first question is, why do students have to be 6 feet apart? The 6 feet apart mandate of social distancing is a mandate that comes from Governor Cuomo, in addition to the New York State Education Department, along with the Department of Health. Many of you have probably heard about polycarbonate barriers. Polycarbonate barriers are not considered an alternative for 6 feet of social distance. However, our teachers are being trained over the course of the summer and will continue to be trained over the course of the year on trying to find ways to engage students and have them still work collaboratively while maintaining appropriate social distance. Second question, who has to wear a mask? Everybody has to wear a mask. Governor Cuomo mandated that masks must be worn in addition to having 6 feet of social distancing in schools. Therefore, Lancaster is following the governor's mandate that everyone in school must wear a mask. Many of you have heard about face shields. Face shields are an extra level of protection, but are not a replacement for masks. We recommend that students, faculty, and staff bring at least one face covering from home each day that is comfortable and has been labeled with the child's name. However, the district will provide face coverings to anyone who needs one or one that does not fit completely over the nose and mouth. Next question is about mask breaks. How will mask breaks be handled? Mask breaks are going to look different across the district. Students in kindergarten may need a little more assistance with masks. It's going to look different at the high school level. It's going to look different at William Street. As a district, we will continue to monitor and check guidance from the State Education Department, Department of Health, and CDC in regard to how to best institute mask breaks. How will students be screened? Like mentioned earlier by Ms. Phillips in the presentation, parents will receive a daily health assessment link via the RUVNA app, and they will complete and submit that daily before their child goes to the bus stop and comes to school. By participating in the hybrid model, as parents, we agree to complete the daily screening for the safety of all of our students, faculty, and staff. As an additional layer of safety, the district has also invested in the non-contact thermal checkpoints to randomly select students and staff for temperature checks as they enter into the schools. These thermal checkpoints are very accurate devices. What happens if a child tests positive for COVID-19? Again, as previously mentioned, the district will notify and collaborate with the Erie County Department of Health. Then the Erie County Department of Health will contact individuals who have been in close contact. Close contact is defined as someone being within 6 feet of another person for more than 10 consecutive minutes. And then they will provide instructions regarding quarantine and testing. The determination, if it needs to be made about school closure, will be made by the district, but it will be made in consultation with the Erie County Department of Health. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to my good friend and colleague, Dr. Marchioli.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Karen Marchioli, and I'm the Director of Elementary Education for the district. And I'm going to continue with some of the frequently asked questions that we've had about health and safety. So one of the questions that has come in is, if one child in my house tests positive, do my other children have to quarantine? The answer to that is yes. The Department of Health will be notifying all families if they have a positive test and telling them what to do and the protocols to follow for their entire family. But that, again, that information will come from the Department of Health. Another question that's come frequently is, when will classrooms be cleaned? Classrooms, along with the rest of each of the schools, will be cleaned according to CDC and Department of Health guidelines. We've updated our cleaning supplies and protocols to meet new guidance set forth by the CDC. This includes the purchase of machinery that allows for more effective and efficient cleaning on a nightly basis. Additionally, cleaning staff has been added to the day shift, and during that time, they will be busy cleaning bathrooms and other high-touch surfaces on a regular basis. Teachers are being supplied with fast-acting cleaners to use between classes, but we should mention that students are forbidden from using those cleaners by law. Another often asked question is about the ventilation system and whether or not they're sufficient. We have been very fortunate over the past several years to update our HVAC systems due to our bond projects, and we'd like to thank the community for that. Ventilation will meet or already exceeds the ventilation standards, which are called ASHRAE for schools, and the district will continue to follow the EPA guidance for indoor air quality, and we will implement all the measures that they give us during this time. Over the summer, air filters have been upgraded to the highest rating that is compatible with our systems, and they have been checked for proper fit to minimize filter air bypass. We're working with our building automation system to review, purchase, and add control sequences to verify our systems. These sequences will allow the systems to meet the new EPA guidance and will also be reprogrammed to bring in more fresh outdoor air, increase the air ventilation amounts, maintain indoor relative humidity and temperature for optimal safety for our staff and students, and will automate our schedules for improved air circulation and air flushing. Additionally, our teachers will be encouraged to open their classroom windows. Another question is, will students be allowed to go outside, and how often will they go outside? We live in Buffalo, so things can change from day to day with the weather. However, our teachers are going to be encouraged to use our outdoor spaces whenever it is appropriate and possible during their instructional time. If we have any of our friends from the K-3 buildings on this meeting, recess will be scheduled for the playground so we don't have intermingling of classes. Lastly, a question is, will visitors be allowed in the building? We will be decreasing the number of visitors that are going to be allowed in our buildings and bringing that down to only those that are absolutely needed. That is to keep the community, the faculty, the staff, and our students as safe as possible during this time.
Good afternoon. My name is Andrew Koof. I'm the Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction. I have the pleasure of discussing the selection of the hybrid model with you today. Let me start by saying there is no perfect hybrid model. We've considered, discussed, gathered data, and deliberated on just about any model that you can think of. Each hybrid model has inherent strengths and weaknesses. We've tried to weigh each of the pros and cons for each. The thing that we used to guide our thought process has been our overarching goal. That goal has been to maximize student learning, especially in person, to maximize the student learning experience, all while balancing the safety and well-being of our faculty, staff, and students. That's a talking point that we used, and going off script just a bit. What does that mean? For us, as we've really looked into this, as we've thought about it, what it means is if you have a son or daughter in 4th grade, if you have a son or daughter in 5th grade, if you have a son or daughter in 6th grade, our children, your children, only get one opportunity at that grade level. We are trying our hardest to make sure that we maximize learning in whatever model we select. The 3 models of overall instruction that we've looked into, the full in-person, the full remote, and the hybrid, we've continued to plan and prepare for each of those models so that we can move between those models as necessary throughout the course of the school year. As I've said, in terms of maximizing learning, our intent from the beginning was to offer full in-person learning for all of our students, with the remote option for our students and families who choose that, who would have chosen that, based on the original guidance we received that students would need to wear masks or maintain 6 feet of social distancing. About 3 to 4 weeks ago, Governor Cuomo changed and clarified that guidance and said that students need to wear masks and maintain 6 feet of social distancing. That forced Lancaster and many other districts into a hybrid model. This does present challenges logistically for the students, for the families, for the district and the schools. The model that we selected, we believe, is the best model of all that we deliberated on to maximize student learning and meet the instructional needs for our students. That model is every other day of instruction, and students are placed into 2 different groups. Group A, for example, will be going to school Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays on odd numbered weeks. Group B will be going to school in person on Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays on even weeks. This allows us to maximize in-person instruction, giving us 20 additional in-person days over some of the models, taking it for the course of the year to 90 instructional days. Ms. Phillips already articulated that we do not need a break day on a Wednesday, for example, to be able to clean and disinfect appropriately and in accordance with the guidelines and standards set forth. We believe this model is the most equitable model for all students, as our students never go more than 1 day without in-person instruction. Additionally, it provides the greatest continuity of instruction in that our students on Mondays will receive the same instruction in person as Group B on Tuesdays. We thank the community for their overwhelming data that they provided as we deliberated on the hybrid models and much more involving our plan. Over 1,000 respondents to the first survey up there, and 4,748 respondents to the second survey to help us shape and craft the overall plan. In terms of the data, what you will see there are 3,985 respondents based on the Family Intent Survey, where families were asked to select the best model for your child as it pertains to instruction. Options A, B, and C lay out models that provide 5 days of instruction over a 10-day cycle. You can see that over 70% of all respondents were in favor of those models. The model that we ultimately selected, the every other day model, is the option B, which aligns with 31% of the community as referenced by this survey.
So some of the questions we've had regarding the hybrid model were, will my children who are siblings be able to attend school on the same day? The answer to that is absolutely yes. We're working within our student management system to identify families, and they will come to school on the same day, no matter which school they go to. The second question is, can we request which sets of days our children attend school? All students will be on an every other day model, so there's not set days to select, but we are not able to switch students back and forth. We are balancing using the alphabet, our out-of-district placements, and making sure that we have the appropriate number of students in all of our buildings from the K-3s up through the high school. And then finally, will students still take art, PE, and music? The answer to that is yes. Here in the elementary level, all 3 of those are mandated by the state of New York, and we will be offering all mandated classes to our students in the hybrid model.
So we're going to talk a little bit now about the remote learning model. As I talk about the remote learning model, I'm talking about families who are opting for 100% remote instruction. So children would not be coming to school. So in order to really understand that, I'm going to talk to you about synchronous and asynchronous days. However, before I do that, I want you to know that we as a school district believe that we can offer the best educational experience possible and are looking to provide that same high quality level of instruction in a remote learning format. In order to understand how remote learning is going to work, there's 2 terms that you need to understand. And the first one is synchronous days or synchronous instruction. Remote learners every other day, just like in the hybrid model, will receive 1 day of synchronous instruction and then the following day receive asynchronous instruction. Synchronous instruction on synchronous days means live, online, interactive lessons through Google Meet, which is a lot like Zoom right here, where students will work with their teachers on designated lessons and learning targets that will lead to deeper understanding of content and material. On those synchronous days, students will also be given a specific schedule in which they will need to follow, very similar to what a bell schedule would be. ELA would be at a particular time, math would be at a particular time. Students would follow a bell schedule on those synchronous learning days. Asynchronous instruction are the days opposite of the synchronous days. Asynchronous instruction is done independently. This is where students are working and participating in pre-recorded lessons. They're working on readings or other assignments from their teachers that are extensions of learning that was done from a previous synchronous learning day, or potentially a preview to get them ready for a synchronous learning day the following day. As Dr. Marchioli mentioned, at the elementary level, we will be able to offer all state required units of studies for families while they are participating on remote instruction. If there are any middle school or high school families that are in attendance here, just a quick piece for them. At the middle school, we will also be able to offer all state required units of study for families who are opting for remote instruction. At the high school level, we will be able to offer all Regents classes in the core areas of math, English, science, and social studies. However, elective course offerings will not be able to be determined until we find out what students are opting for remote instruction. And we will then move on to the frequently asked questions.
In the remote model, people have often asked, when my child is doing online learning, will they be required to be online at specific times? As was just mentioned, you will have synchronous days and asynchronous days. On those synchronous days, your child will have a schedule that they will need to follow and log on at particular times to meet with their teachers for in-person instruction. On the asynchronous days, they will have assignments that they will need to do, videos that they will need to watch, projects to work on, but that can be done at their leisure throughout the day. Another question is, who will be teaching the full remote option? For all of our classes, Lancaster teachers who are certified in both the grade level and the content area will be teaching each of the classes. Another question is, will my children be able to participate in sports and co-curriculars if they participate in the remote model? The guidance at this time tells us that yes, students can participate in after-school activities, even if they are a part of the remote model. However, it's important to note that right now, all interscholastic sports are on hold until September 21st, as per New York State. Once we have more information about that, we will be updating parents and we will continue to follow the guidance on extracurricular activities. Lastly, a question that's asked very often: why do we have to commit to 20 weeks for a remote option? We understand that these are difficult decisions for parents to make and that 20 weeks sounds like a very long time. We also know that you want us to give your students the very best education possible. In order to do that, we must properly staff both the hybrid and the remote model. And in order to do that, we need to know how many students are in each. So we would ask that you think carefully about your decisions and then commit to the 20 weeks for either the hybrid or the remote option.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is John Armstrong. I'm Director of Special Education for the district. I'll give a brief overview of how we plan to deliver related services, or excuse me, special education services, including related services, and then go through some frequently asked questions that have come from my discussions with parents and survey results. To start with, students that receive resource room, consultant teacher programs, and related services only will be receiving their instruction through the hybrid model. Special education teachers and other staff will provide these programs on the every other day basis. There will be a regular schedule of instruction for both in-person and online approaches. Also, special education staff will consult with and provide guidance to the classroom or general education teachers on how to best provide various accommodations, supports, modifications, and to access technology during hybrid instruction. For our students, for most of our students that attend full-day special class programs and have some significant needs or more significant needs, these students will attend school on a daily basis. And please know that for students that are attending on a daily basis, to better address their levels and needs, the special education department has already notified parents about these students so that they can plan accordingly and so that they're aware. A very key area, related services. That means services such as speech, occupational, and physical therapy. These services will be provided to meet individual mandates of the IEP or 504 plan. The services will be provided in person or via teletherapy as necessary to meet the needs of students. All therapists, social workers, counselors, and school psychologists will have an established schedule for providing the required therapy. And then lastly, as part of the overview, accommodations and modifications. The necessary accommodations and modifications that enable students to progress and have access to the regular education curriculum and improve learning, these will be provided. And this, I want you to know that this also includes 504 accommodation students that have a 504 plan. The accommodations and modifications will be provided, but also please know that with some of these accommodations, and especially during times of distance learning or remote learning, there may be some modifications to how it's written, and there may need to be some work with parents and other staff to make sure we can deliver them properly. Now, in terms of commonly asked or frequently asked questions, if my child is eligible for full-time instruction, in other words, daily instruction, because they're in a special class, a full-time special education class, can these students attend on hybrid days only? My answer to that is these students should attend daily in order to receive the access and the full benefit of specialized instruction and to receive any needed related services. If there are any special circumstances where a parent of such a student could not attend, then I would just ask you to call the special education department, speak with either myself or Mrs. Camerata, the assistant director. Another commonly asked question, Will specialized reading and math instruction continue to be provided? Yes, absolutely. This includes academic intervention services for students that might receive them, but small class instruction, specially designed instruction in reading and support for math will continue to be offered both in person and through online approaches. Next up, for how will students that attend out-of-district special education programs, for example, BOCES or day school agency programs, how will they receive their education programs? Please know that each special school has developed its own reopening plan that details the model of instruction, as well as safety procedures that will follow to keep students safe. These special education providers will contact parents, and the district, they're contacting the parents and the district to communicate how and when they will provide special class programs and related services. Many of these schools have already contacted parents and the district. However, again, if you have questions, if your child attends such a school or a program, don't hesitate to contact my office if you have questions. Thank you.
In terms of technology, the overall success, the instructional success of our students and the staff for this upcoming year will hinge upon the technology that we can provide the students of Lancaster and the families in terms of the devices, Chromebooks, and the infrastructure. We've been fortunate to have the support of the community over the last several years as it pertains to enhancing our infrastructure and as it pertains to acquiring the amount of devices necessary to be able to service our students and our faculty. So going forward, and if the details are not out there already, I believe in the beginning of September, William Street will be having a Chromebook distribution. Please look for the details from Mrs. Bull and the administration as to when and where that will take place. Each student K through 12 will be provided with a Chromebook that is assigned to them. In terms of professional development for our teachers, preparing them for the upcoming school year with whatever that holds, especially in the digital setting. We've offered over 40 workshops to our teachers and our staff, and we've had over 1,000 attendees at those workshops. Once again, showing that our teachers are some of the best in all of New York, and they're ready to tackle whatever the year holds in the virtual setting. They've taken courses on Google Classroom, making sure that the most efficient, effective ways of running Google Classroom is done for this upcoming year. There's been workshops on presentations modes in the virtual setting, such as Nearpod and many others. And they're looking to build relationships with students in the virtual setting, both in the hybrid model and the fully remote model. So they're working hard, and we're working hard together to make sure our students are best supported in this upcoming year.
Transportation to and from school for our students will look very similar than it has. Bus drivers and attendants and students alike will all be following the same health and safety protocols. They will all be completing the daily health assessment before boarding the bus and coming to work for our employees, and they will all be wearing masks throughout the entire ride. Social distancing will occur at stops while loading the bus and while unloading the bus at school, in the reverse in the afternoon. Masks will be worn at stops while loading and unloading the buses and while the entire time while riding on the school bus. Students will be asked when they board to load from the rear forward and take the first available seat. Students with siblings on the bus with them will be asked to sit with their siblings. Face shields and gloves will be worn by bus drivers and bus attendants who have physical contact with any students. Masks will also be provided to any student who is at the stop without a mask prior to them boarding the bus. Students who cannot medically tolerate a mask will be seated with 6 feet of social distance around them. And wheelchair buses will be arranged for 6 feet of social distance. We will have the roof hatches and windows open as the weather permits, so any temperatures above 45 degrees without any precipitation, and that will assist with providing fresh air and ventilation on the bus. Our drivers will disinfect the high-touch surfaces between bus runs and daily at the end of the day. And the in-between runs will be to the extent practicable. Buses will not be equipped with hand sanitizer dispensers, however, as per DOT, that is not allowed on the bus.
So to review some of the questions that have come in from parents, what will bus transportation look like? Due to the hybrid model and the number of students who have chosen to go remote, we know that there will be a decreased number of students on each of the buses. Prior to coming to the bus stop, your students should put on their masks, and while at the bus stop, they should keep their mask on and maintain social distancing. While the students are getting on the bus, we will also be having social distancing. Students will go to the back of the bus and load forward. And again, as Ms. Phillips said, any students who are living in the same household as siblings will be asked to sit together if they go to the same school. Students throughout the bus will be spaced out to maintain social distancing, and again, will be asked to keep their masks on. The windows and door latches will be open as often as possible. And earlier I spoke about outdoor education and having our lessons outside. Here too, we're going to be having more outdoor air coming in, so please make sure your children are dressed for the weather. The bus stop and the schedules will be similar to what they've been in previous years because our times have not changed for school, and you'll be getting that information from the transportation department shortly.
Good afternoon. I'm Mrs. Jacqueline Bull, for those who have not had the opportunity to meet with me. And I'd like to welcome all of our parents, especially our incoming fourth grade parents. Normally, we've had the opportunity to have orientation, to have walkthroughs with you. Please know that we are planning a virtual orientation so that you can sit down with your child and share so many components of our school, as well as answer some questions prior to coming to school. But along, today I want to certainly, I just want to thank our staff, our parents, everybody in the community who is participating and in attendance at today's meeting. Certainly, again, it's very, very important. And before I begin, just on a personal note, many of you know me in the community. I am a parent, first and foremost. I am a parent. I have a child, Jacob, who attends Lancaster High School. He will be a senior this year. And my husband, my son, we are very excited to have Jacob return, as well as Jacob's very excited to return back to the high school this fall. So along with Mrs. Conti and Mr. Hare, my assistant principals, we are going to go through some building level specifics and hopefully answer some questions for you. Please know that within the next couple weeks, or excuse me, right before school, we will have a parent handbook available for you to be able to go through many of the things that may not have been, answered for you. One thing I do want to note is that it did come up regarding Chromebooks. We did meet, and Chromebook distribution for William Street is scheduled tentatively right now for August 31st, September 1st, and September 2nd. And all of that information will be sent to you in our letter that will be going home. So I'm going to start with arrival and dismissal at William Street. It's not going to look too different from what our grade 5 and grade 6 parents and students are used to. The major difference is the controlled, staggered dismissal of our kids. Our faculty, our staff will be out front for welcoming our kids when they get off the bus. And it's always been a priority for us to walk our kids, teach our kids the right way, and spend a lot of time going on procedures. So our kids, again, in terms of the buses, they're going to be in a staggered, controlled release getting off the bus. For fourth grade parents and for new parents, please know that our homeroom teachers will be out front with signs, and your children are going to be guided to their specific homeroom teacher and then walked in school. For our 5th and 6th grade kids getting off the bus, they are they are familiar with the building, but we are got lots of great staff that will be out in all of the halls and helping our kids get directly to their homeroom. And I'm very grateful for everyone because it's really a team effort. So Coming off the bus, very controlled, getting into school. We will have the temperature checks as they enter through all of the doors as they get into the school. Now we're going to have, we know we are anticipating many parents that will opt to drive their child to school. And the difference that we have, and actually I'm glad we have the picture right here. As a parent, if you are dropping off your child, you are going to get familiar with what's known as the A door and the E door. And as you can see the picture there, there's a loop for the A door and there's a loop for the E door. And you can see a picture again below the A and E. Parents, in the past, we just had you drive up in the loop. We know we want to make sure that we accommodate you and the safety security of your kids, that we have transitioned our staff parking lot to the far lot, opening up those front lots for our parents when they come in to drop their kids off. Once your kids get dropped off, in regards to parent drop-off, your kids are going to be welcomed from our staff. We will be outside. We are outside every day. Rain, snow, all of that, we're outside to welcome your kids. 5th and 6th grade kids will walk into the building, will be directed to their homeroom. 4th grade parents, again, and 4th grade kids and our new students to the district, there will be signs and teachers and staff welcoming your kids so that they know, I'm new to William Street. Again, we will have signs. This is where they go. We will walk them, escort them to their homeroom. Ultimately, the goal, and it's always been the goal for us, is to go through a lot of procedures and processes to, again, empower our kids. And that's our goal. So for arrival, very staggered, very controlled. The big difference for parents, for the dismissal piece, would be for the parent pickup. We're going to start a little bit earlier. Normally, we started parent pickup around 3 o'clock, 3:05. We've opted to start at about 2:50. So for parent pickup, and we've consulted with our main office secretaries, our staff. Parent pickup is only going to be, as it always has been, at the E door. And parents, the biggest difference that you're going to see at William Street is you're going to stay in your car. You're going to stay in your car, and we are going to, in my opening letter, you're going to see a card or a form, large form that you're going to fill out if you are picking up your child, where you're going to put their name, his or her name, grade, homeroom, and you're going to position that chart or that form right in your car window. Almost like when you did lunch, pick up the lunch and you had your card. So when you pull up, our staff will be outside. They will see the name of the child, they will radio, and we will walk and escort your child to his or her car. Please know, proper identification at all times. We will not release any students without proper identification. We do ask for pickup if you are picking up your child, to make sure that you have a note right in the morning with them, the child gives to his or her teacher, so that we can compile that list and really efficiently have the process go through to get your kids. Safety is the most important. For kids getting on the bus, just like we have done in the past, we do a staggered call for our kids getting on the bus. We go 4th grade first, then we go 5th grade, then we go 6th grade. Our teachers walk our students. They will walk our students outside. And again, we will go 4th, we will go 5th, we will go 6th. They will have faculty and staff, again, monitoring, there to help support the kids. So, in regards to drop off, pickup, I hope this clarifies a little bit for you. If you take a look, get familiar if you're a new parent to William Street. Again, familiarize yourself with the A door, the E door, and the main entrance. And I will say, on a positive note, this past summer, they have been reconfiguring our front parking lot, and it looks beautiful. So very excited to welcome our kids back. I'm going to turn this over to Mrs. Conti.
Our next topic is hallway traffic patterns and lockers. Travel in our hallway is going to be minimized, as the core content teachers, or what you may know as our switch teachers, will move between classes rather than the students. The students will stay in the same classroom. The class lines will always be escorted by teachers and will be continuously moving until they reach their locations when traveling the hallway. Again, when they travel in the hallway, students are expected to keep to the right. They will be wearing their masks at all times and maintaining appropriate distance while traveling. We're going to place dots strategically throughout the building in what we would call those higher traffic locations, such as outside of a special area classroom, to identify the 6 feet of distance. And lastly, if you would like to go ahead and click on that link, our hand
sanitizer, okay?
Our hand sanitizing stations have been placed throughout the school and in each individual classroom as well. So the students will have a great deal of opportunity to utilize those hand sanitizing stations. Another topic is lockers. To start our school year, the lockers will not be used. Students are going to be expected to bring their book bag with all materials and belongings inside the classroom. Student book bags will support the storage in the classroom, so they don't need to use the insides of their desks. And as those cooler months do approach and our jackets are becoming bulkier, we're going to then go ahead and reevaluate the use of lockers and if we move in that direction or not. And additionally, our locker rooms for PE are not going to be used. Students are not changing for physical education, so therefore we do not need to utilize the lockers. Turn it over to Mr. Hare.
Thank you. Mr. Kreisman, would you mind showing the picture of our cafeteria, please? As you can see, our cafeteria, we are in the process of restructuring our cafeteria. It will look a little different, but we will make it work. Lunch orders will be taken each morning while students are in homeroom. For those ordering, menu options will be limited to either a hot or cold lunch. Students are permitted to bring lunch from home. Once inside the cafeteria, students will be seated at assigned desks 6 feet apart. Cafeteria staff will deliver lunch orders to individual students at their seat. All lunch orders will be served in bags. Students will not go through the lunch line. Breakfast. Breakfast will continue to be offered each morning. Cafeteria staff will deliver bagged breakfasts to each homeroom within the first hour of the school day. Menu items will be limited. Families should have lunch and breakfast money preloaded on student accounts. Information on how to do so can be found on our district website.
Classroom arrangements, Mr. Kreisman, can you show and project the classroom arrangements? I'd like to start off and, when the guidance came from New York State, we met with numerous stakeholders within William Street and really consulted with lots of teachers, staff, parents regarding, next step. For this particular piece, in terms of making sure that our rooms, we have 6 feet, the social distance, I want to give credit to our custodial staff. Mr. Delzer, Mr. Cedia, our administration, walking each one of the rooms. We walked each one of the rooms to make sure and plan out to make sure that we can have how many kids safely with the 6 feet. We've met with our teachers. We talked about, again, having that standard room set up, but also making sure if you look to the right, you can see standard desks as well as you can see some of those flexible seating for our kids. We're still able to have a classroom, flexible seating, and making sure that we can socially distance with our children. Mr. Delzer and our custodial staff will be putting marks on the floor to assist our teachers and our cleaning staff at night to make sure that we know kids, when they push their desks or they sit up, to make sure that those desks and those chairs can go back to the location that we measured from. So I wanted to give you a little bit of a picture, and for 4th grade parents, these are 4th grade rooms. If you've never been here, we have Mr. Z's room, and we also have Ms. Cole's room, and I very appreciative again for them. I went in there and took a picture. So again, this is a little bit of a sample in terms of what it would look like for your kids to come to your classroom.
Mask breaks. Students will take mask breaks throughout the day in designated areas, at least 6 feet apart for less than 10 minutes. And as Dr. Marchioli mentioned, Teachers are encouraged to utilize our outdoor space as much as possible, weather permitting.
School supplies. Our school supplies may be accessed through the William Street homepage. If you go to the homepage and you click Our School, the very bottom tab there says Supply List 2020-2021. Each teacher has their own supply list that can be found there. Students will be responsible for their own supplies, and they're not going to become community supplies or shared with others. They will be individual. If you could go ahead and click on the link School Supplies, we'd like to thank our PTO, who has graciously purchased us individual totes, as you can see in the image provided, to help the students with their organization and storage of their personal supplies. So each student will receive their own tote that they can keep at or near their desk. And then when they are not at school, it can get tucked away on a side counter for return, nice and sealed up for when they come back to school on their next day. And lastly, students are responsible, as has been mentioned numerous times throughout the presentation, for their own district provided Chromebooks. And again, that will not be shared with others, that will be personalized for themselves.
I know it's a lot of information in a short period of time, and there's probably a lot more questions that you may have. I would encourage all of our parents to continually monitor the William Street Sanction Facebook page. Again, great parents that we have at our school, and we help each other. If we have answers to our questions, you know, that's ultimately to ease your anxiety. And I'm hoping that this presentation gave you insight in terms of our planning, our communicating, and again, we could not do it without all of you and our faculty, our staff, everyone. So we are looking forward to some final thoughts. There will be we will be having a taped virtual orientation to walk you through the school. So for parents who have never been at William Street before, hang tight, we're going to get that out to you. And we are hopeful that our teacher assignments, thank you for your patience, will be coming out shortly. And there will be a letter posted from William Street School identifying some key points for you, as well as then giving you a lot of information in terms of more specifics. So I thank everybody. We're looking forward to everybody coming back. And I know it's going to be a great year, but we're all in this together. And thank you again so much for your participation and joining us today.
Moving forward, we will have an updated Lancaster Central School District plan for you. And we will also have a updated parent frequently asked questions. We've now finished all 7 meetings, so we'll be able to finalize that and post that. If you haven't heard, we have extended the deadline for you to make your decision. Quite honestly, we had 95% of people already signed up and ready to go. For those 5% that haven't decided, you know, take some time, read the FAQs if you want to, the updated plan and those kind of things, and make a decision by Monday, please. Finally, you know, thank you for your patience. Please know that we're committed to doing the best we can to provide the best education we can and to care for your children's safety. We'll get through this, and we'll get through this together. So thank you very much and have a good day.